Get on, there we go. Sorry about that. Just making sure my game is coming through. There we go. Much better. So, just have a look, see if my
Sega
sound is working properly. Yep. So there we are. So, in this part, we will be, I've decided what we're going to be doing. And I'll explain my choices in just a second, once I've had a sip of my tea. Lovely. You have to forgive me, it's been so long since I've actually had tea with actual sugar in it. Normally we use sweeteners, but ran out of sweeteners, so sugar. I've decided to push north into Gaul. So we're going to be going north. We're going to war with Gaul, and then taking over most of northern Spain, and then pushing into Gaul itself, and then stopping probably halfway up for now. That's because... well, actually, I'll show you in game. I'll show you in game. There's a gameplay reason, and there is an actual lesson reason, a narrative story reason that I wanted to do that way. The narrative story reason, as in the little bits of trivia that I'm giving you as we're going through, is because I'd like the war between Rome and Carthage to be epic in scale, and I don't think it's quite that big yet. So I'm going to let Carthage just stew and get money, get armies together, whilst I go and conquer the Gauls and most of northern Spain. So that should mean that all this part of the Mediterranean is shorn in half, basically, between us and Carthage. Which would be pretty cool. I think Hannibal's still alive as well, because obviously the 12 turns per year mod doesn't just work for me, it works for them as well. So Hannibal should still be around for us to combat and get into a big old scrap with. This is supposed to be Hannibal, but it's not. There's no way Hannibal was white, I don't think. Might have been. You never know. Okay. I think we're about to start. There we go. So, in game. So that's the story reason. That's the lesson reason that we're doing it this way. The other reason is that if I can push north all the way through here, we actually link all of our provinces together. And we also have an army ready to go in Octodoran. So instead of taking the Alpina Legion and sweeping it back down, all the way down into Spain, and then having to ship it all the way across North Africa and eventually Carthage itself, we can actually keep Carthage as a very valuable trading partner. We can keep squeezing the Syracusans down here in Sicily, and we can actually link up our empire by taking all of the Auvergne lands and all of northern Spain. If we can do that, then we'll be in a very good position to go and have a massive titanic war with Carthage, which should be really cool to see. So yeah, that was my idea for doing that. So let's get started. Let's do some looking around with our agent there. We're going to make sure that these two are Roman before we actually do anything else with them. They have a legion, that's good. And we're probably going to, for every major region, we're probably going to raise a legion there. So this would be the Spanish Legion. And let's say, yeah, we'll raise an army with Tubero here. Why not? General's bodyguard. We'll raise it there. We'll pop it there, and we will have him recruiting Astarte. We'll have him recruiting Principes. We'll have him recruiting some Chari and some Equites and Knights as well, and some rest. Fill the rest out with Astarte. It's a recruit legion, but you know it's a legion nonetheless. You know, it's a big legion, so it's going to go there, and it is, yes, the 6th Hispania. That's good, and we're going to take the Hispania, and this is the man you will remember last time was a victim of an assassination plot. He's a member of our family, but yeah, he's fine, so that's good. Oh wait, did we do the wrong guy? Yeah, we wanted Tubero. There we go. So we've got Tubero. He's our family general, or a general of our family. There we go. And these two generals are going to pincer movement all the way up here. So we're going to really start turning the screw on Gaul. And whilst they're doing that, the Alpina Legion is going to swing in and start disrupting their homelands to make sure that they don't have the economy to pull us back and start really fighting us again. Before we do that, though, we're going to create a spy. If we can. Yes, we can. So, Turda. Oh, we've got to do Turda. And she's going to come into Bibract. There we go. So that means we'll be doing this session on the Gauls, and coincidentally the Northern Tribes, as I called them in my dissertation. My paper on Caesar in Rome. Caesar in Gaul, sorry. You can look it up if you go onto the Durham University site. It is published on there, as is everyone's dissertation from that year. It's called Defining History in Blood, which I thought was a very... oh. Tribal Confederation. Okay. Wary strangers. Okay. So yeah. Just as we're consuming men there, we're getting ready to go. He is already retrained, he should be. He should be ready to go by now. Yeah, nearly. Nearly there. 2 turns. 2 turns. Everyone's 2 turns, okay. So in 2 turns he'll be ready to go. That's good. We're going to take our spy over here.
How may I serve you?
We're going to go over here.
I serve only Rome.
So Rebract is undefended, that's good.
In Rome's service I never tire.
So the northern tribes in Europe, around Caesar's time, and around the time of the Roman Republic and then Empire, were just that, northern tribes. You hear a lot of people saying the words Gaul, and Gaulish, and the Gauls, and that's all you hear. But in fact they were split into a very diverse number of tribes. One of them is called the Iverni. But there were tons of tribes in this local area. But up at north as well is Britain, and there is a prevailing what's the word, fallacy really, that said that Britons had no culture before the Romans got here, and that when the Romans left at the start of the Dark Ages they basically turned the lights out and we went back to barbarism again. Complete and utter bollocks, as through my research shown, through Caesar's own account when he went into Gaul. and all the generals' accounts when they were in Gaul as well. The Gauls had an extensive culture. They had a real grip on irrigation and farming. They had their own sector of gods. They had Caesar praised them for being loyal to a fault, and this is, by the way, this is a Roman general who is essentially giving praise to an enemy, which doesn't happen very often. Now, I came up with an idea that basically tore my own point down, really, because I was trying to make the point that the nations of Gaul were very advanced, thanks to what Caesar was saying. But really, when you think about it, Julius Caesar is fighting these people in an illegal war. It's a war that isn't legal. It hasn't been ratified by the Senate, not really. So he could be in big trouble. So the reports that he sends back to Rome have to paint the Gauls, really, and the northern tribes as a whole, really, as very strong, proud warriors that he's fighting against. Now, he doesn't want to build sympathy for them, so he does go into a lot of reasons why the northern tribes are barbaric and horrible and need to be quashed. But I think, as with all things with ancient history, it's very dangerous to take somebody at the word. In fact, it's suicidal, really, as a historian, to take somebody at the word, an ancient source, at their word. The best thing to do is to read between the lines. So if Caesar says he fought 30,000 men against 150,000 men, he probably fought around 60,000 men against around 100,000 men. Do you know what I mean? You got to read between the lines, and I think the same is true here. But no matter if we read between the lines of Caesar's Gallic Wars, his compendium on his wars in the lands of the northern tribes, we find that balance. And we find that whilst Caesar did respect the Gauls, he also thought that he didn't actually think that. I don't think he thought that they needed to be destroyed at all. I think he did it for sheer political brute power, because he was that kind of a man. Now, I also think that the culture of the Gauls and the Celts and all the different tribes of the north, the Averni being one of the most the prime examples of one. Basically, I think their culture was very advanced. And I think the only reason we don't hear of how advanced it was, aside from Caesar, really, is because they sort of fade into obscurity when Rome conquers them. That's it. It's finished. As soon as Vercingetorix's rebellion fails, that's it. We don't hear anything else from them, which is a tragedy, really, because they had a fully developed culture from Caesar's own admission. And when you think about it, the cultural side of things is not what Caesar wanted to put over to the people of Rome. He wanted to put over that these guys were vicious, proud warriors, loyal, but incredibly dangerous. He didn't really want them to know that these guys had lives much like the people of Rome did. But he did anyway. And so he must have toned that down. Because he wouldn't want to write back to Rome and say, oh, well, these people are farmers just like you, and they have irrigation just like you, and they have, you know, do you know what I mean? He wouldn't want to make them human. But he did. Which just, to me, shows you that point, is that they were human, of course they were. They had technology that at least rivaled Rome. Perhaps it didn't surpass it in any way, shape or form, but it rivaled Rome. They weren't a backwater, you know. So, and that's my thought on the Gallic Wars so far. When we get up there, we'll discuss what actually happened in the Gallic Wars. But for now, let's carry on with our training of troops. Okay. Tyrus no longer at war with Athens. That means I can be at peace with them in a minute. motivated populace, and everyone's becoming nice and friendly over here. That's good. So we'll build an amphitheatre. And... That's all we build there. We build... No. No need to build anything there. Gladiator School. About Rome itself, we haven't built anything here for quite a while. Build a trench mine and a bigger thing there. Build an amphitheatre. A temple of... Vulcan, why not? We'll have it being a farming settlement. There we go. There we go. So we're building lots of things in Italy, building up our economy.
What do you wish of me?
Let's see where these Gallic troops are.
No further.
Surely that must mean that they're all in Spain somewhere. Which is dangerous for them.
I serve only Rome.
That means if I can catch their armies in Spain and destroy them, and I can send this army in to quickly start mopping up their heartlands, we can kill them in one fell swoop. Or at least stop them from doing nasty things. Can anyone else trade with us? I see the Averni like us now. What a shame.
Be welcome. If I can give you a... Now,
Okay. The Epirus want to trade with us?
be welcome. But may a
Nope. The Helvetii, do they want to trade with us?
You are welcome.
Now the Helvetii is an interesting one. Because the Helvetii were the first tribe to feel Caesar's wrath, really. When he was the proconsul of Cisalpine Gaul, this region here, he was very much in debt. I mean, seriously in debt. He was in debt so much that on the morning that he was to be voted to become Pontifex Maximus, which is basically the head of the Roman Church, which made him exempt from all debt for a while, he turned to his mother and said, I'll either return as Pontifex Maximus, or I won't return at all. They'll just throw me into slavery because I'm so in debt. So that's how much debt he was in when he became proconsul of Cisalpine Gaul. Now, the Cisalpine Gaul is what we just conquered up here. And he was looking, at this stage, for a campaign to make himself rich, to pay off his debtors, and to make sure that no one could come after his family or him. Obviously, his enemies in the Senate didn't want him to be doing this, because they didn't want him growing in power. But when the Helvetii were starving, and they were being pushed out of their lands by eastern tribes who were migrating from the east, they asked not to settle on Roman land, but to simply march through a tiny sliver of it to get into Gaul so that they could settle there, which was not Roman land at this point. Caesar refused, flatly refused, and said that they should stay where they are, pretty much hoping for a fight, begging for a fight, because they outnumbered him quite vastly, but he knew he had the advantages in men and technology. Eventually, the Helvetii crossed in desperation anyway, and Caesar caught them. I think it was at the Battle of Bebract, but I'm not sure. Let me just have a little check, because that is doing my head in now. I'm going to have to check. It was the Battle of... Yep, the Battle of Bebract in 58 BC. So in 58 BC, Caesar corners them and kills them. Essentially, beats them like a drum at Bebract.
Greetings. Now speak plainly.
And that really does whet his appetite for going further into Gaul. Bebract in this game is way in Gaul. It's over here somewhere. Whereas Bebract in real life is actually around about here. very near Octodoron. It's not very far away from Italy itself. So he beats them at Bract and annihilates them, and he gets a large war chest, sends it back to Rome, and starts paying people off. And from then on in, you see Caesar's tactic change. He comes into Gaul and he starts dividing and conquering, as we all know him as a famous conqueror of sorts. But yeah, his war was completely illegal. It had no precedent. Well, it kind of had precedent, because Sulla did the same thing in Greece. The thing is, when Sulla and Gaius Marius were having a go at each other, they did so by manipulating and using the Senate. So everything that they did, when it was Gaius Marius' time to shine... Oh.
A token, perhaps a modest
Yep,
gift.
fine. When it was Gaius Marius' time to shine, the Senate were backing him. He'd bought the Senate, and they sent Sulla away. When it's Sulla's time to shine, they were backing him, mainly because he killed all of his detractors, but they were backing him, and they sent all of Gaius Marius' allies away. So, so when they were backing, when they were backing Gaius Marius, they gave Gaius Marius a very lucrative command in Africa, for instance. When they were supporting Sulla, they gave him a very lucrative command, which was a curse, really, taking on Mithridates. So, there was precedent for it, but Caesar was the first one to actually go, do you know what? I'm going here, whether you like it or not. And this went. Parrot to a serious problem, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to recruit them. Why not? So yeah. We need to let our money recover for a little while, I think. Yeah, there's no one else who can really truck with us, really, to do a bit of trading.
Be welcome. But
Greetings. Now speak plainly.
we hunger for battle.
Let's upgrade our main man. Dread Commander will be a good one. And we will have Ferocious Warrior as well. So when Caesar was in Gaul, the Roman
We
Senate...
have simple needs.
No.
All we ask is a small amount of...
No. When Caesar was in Gaul, winning his victories, the Senate tried to call him back, namely people like Cato and Cicero and other enemies of his tried to call him back and get his governorship of Gaul revoked, and tried to have him done, basically, prosecuted on charges of illegal warfare. Didn't work, because Caesar had two very, very, very influential allies. One called Pompey the Great, who was a very famous Roman general, and one called Crassus, who was known as the richest man in Rome, maybe one of the richest men in history, actually. And they managed to secure Caesar enough power and enough influence to get his governorship of Gaul extended, which made sure that he succeeded in conquering Gaul. And when he returned to Rome, he did so with the pleasure of the people. They all wanted him back, but the Senate fled because they'd ordered him to disband his armies. And instead of disbanding his armies, coming back to Rome and probably never seeing sunlight again, because his enemies were, really wanted him dead at this point, he marched on Rome from Gaul with his legions, and so starts Caesar's civil war, which we will be coming to when we have our own civil war much later in the campaign. But for now, I've talked enough, I think. So let's just carry on with playing the game. So our legions are ready to go. We're ready to go after the Evocati. And once we've gone after them, it means that the Gauls will have to declare war on us, which is good, because the Evocati aren't our allies. The Gauls really like us, but the Evocati don't. So I always like fighting people who, you know, don't really have any need for warfare with us, because they will not want to fight us. I'm telling you that now. So let's get over there and there we go. And let's go over there. There we go.
Make haste, men. Ready for battle.
Let's take our main man over here. Oh, Oxydoron can have more things. That's good.
Commander. Ready for all. We cannot pass here.
Okay. Let's go. Oh, Regulus. Where's Regulus?
Hunger for battle, Commander.
There he is. We'll have him be a military logistician and a military conscriptor. And we'll give him... yeah, slave trader, why not? Okay. So, she's been seen. That's not terrible. Seen as being blackmailed. We'll do nothing. I'm fine with that. So this is something that happened in Rome, and I don't need to explain it, I can just read it out. The Lemuria. So the rest of the spirits of the dead were a very real concern for the people of ancient Rome. If relatives suffered a violent death or did not receive the correct funerary rites, they would return as larvae, bringers of misfortune to neglectful descendants. The festival of Lemuria was founded to deal with these vengeful spirits. Once a year, the head of the household would rise at midnight, purify his body, and fill his mouth with black beans. As he moved around the house, he would incant, "With these I redeem me and mine," and spit the beans onto the floor, eyes averted so that the ghosts could collect them and feed on their magical energy. Finally, with the cry of "Ghosts of my fathers and ancestors be gone," the household would hammer on pots and pans, driving the spirits out into the night. There we go. Cohort organization. Excellent. Actually, no, we won't. We need to be farming. Advanced construction. Why not? So we're ready to go.
At your command.
Let them cower before Rome.
The way is blocked.
It's not blocked. Go in there.
None will escape.
Jesus.
Laying siege to the settlement.
We hunger for battle. I don't care how
There we go.
tired you are.
So there's a siege going on over there.
At your command. You have further orders? None will escape.
Okay. So everything's going according to plan right now. Let's take the settlement. Boom. Oh, they've sallied out. Look at that. Hello, Alexaid. How are you today? If you can hear a thing pulling on my microphone every now and again, it's me just pulling it away from my mouth. We'll wait for a minute. I'm hoping for some rain. Come on, rain. No, it's still dry. Okay. Oh, cool. Hope you like the game. I enjoy it nowadays. I didn't when it first came out. But this unit can stay as is. The rest of them I'm fine with. So let's start the battle. Enemy reinforcements are approaching. Okay. Okay. I am actually, yes. I'm playing with a few mods. I will read them out during the stream at some point. Thanks, Kenneth Errod. That's very nice of you to say. I'm glad to see him finally getting some use out of that degree. Oh, God. If you knew how much debt I was in to bring you this commentary. Oh, my God. But I've always loved ancient history, so I suppose, you know, it's all for the best. If you actually want to know, it's around £40,000. Yeah, that's how much this bloody degree cost. So I'm using it to bring you some knowledge on Twitch. Hooray! Did you play the original Kerner thread? Because the original was absolutely superb. It wasn't very accurate, but it was absolutely superb. As a game, it was lovely. It's going to work in encircling these fools. Oh, okay, that's nice. Well, congrats on the new PC. I know that feeling. It's always nice to get your first machine up and running.
Attack! For Rome!
Okay, so they've got a lot of shit. Yeah, and they're doing the very smart thing of keeping their spears back to stop me from charging into them, but I don't give a fuck, because I'm Rome. So, yeah. We're going to get in there and just start wailing on these motherfuckers. So if you see on the middle map there, you should see that we're going to encircle this army eventually. We've got a full army actually reinforcing us, but we don't need them right now. So, in fact, before I do anything else, yeah, we should probably just tell him to form up, group them together, and tell them to form up over here just in case anything goes awry. I won't be playing DLC in this game, Alec. But I will be playing DLC in other games. We're going to go through all of our time periods that I've studied. So there'll be the Ancient World and the Medieval World as well. And eventually we might even work our way up to the Napoleonic Wars, but we'll see. But the next campaign after this will be, well, a medieval campaign, but I'm not telling you which one it is. So you'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I think later on the games actually did change so that they all looked like the DLC because they realised the DLCs looked better. Let's get the cavalry in there. Yeah, he's bringing over his spearmen to, they're blobbing up, which they shouldn't be doing. There we go. Should be hammering into these, silencing them. Yeah. Pull away, pull away, pull away.
At the double! Look forward!
Bring these over here. Bring these down here.
And riders at the double!
There we go.
Legionary cavalry! And charge!
Whack.
Engage! Brave Romans!
That's how I love using cavalry in this game. It's amazing.
At the double!
This feels awesome. Because we are literally Spurius Norbanus Canis, who is our general, is basically Alexander the Great, but Roman. So that's why he's leading his cavalry. He's not taking the back lines. He's leading the cav. He's smashing into people, as he should be.
General! To full glory!
Yeah, I'd love to play some battles with you guys. I love the fact that this army just turned up to reinforce it and just standing there. Just like, oh, okay, they're all dead. Okay. But the thing is, the reason why I've done that is because their cavalry can now come and start mopping up. Because they're all fresh. My cav is pretty knackered right now. So they can start mopping up for me. Which is great. Get rid of those. Should be fine for now. Astarte, no more cav up there. Oh, there's one. There's a general unit. That's fine. And he can come and mop these guys up.
And honor!
Cool. So I don't think that's the end, because there is a cavalry unit up here, I think. Yeah. It's one general's unit. The poor guy. He's sitting on this hill thinking, oh my god. Look at all those Romans that have just smashed and annihilated the army I've come to reinforce. That's what he's seeing right now.
What's going on then? You men?
Ready for battle, sir?
See that? What's going on then? Yeah. Yeah. Yep, he's decided better of it. Yep, no wonder. I don't blame him. So let's just speed this up a little bit. Because we need to kill as many of these men as we can. Oh, you're very lucky there, kind of Ferret. Because when this game came out, it was broken as fuck. It would not work. Like, it was actually terrible. Like, I've never seen anything that bad on release day. It was shocking. It would crash. It would have ridiculous frame rate drops. It would just shit a brick. It did not work at all. But after 20 patches, and yeah, you heard right, 20 patches, the game's up to where it should be. So the mods that I have, I'm going to avoid all the graphical ones because, you know, that's an aesthetic choice that you have to make yourself. But gameplay-wise, I have a mod called 12 turns per year, which basically makes sure that, I always thought it was a bit silly that you could march from one end of Italy to the other in about 8-9 months, which is ridiculous, because it takes a very disciplined Roman legion about a week, if that, to march from there to there. So yeah, it's 1 turn per year, and it also means that your generals become extremely good, because they don't die off of old age. So they become amazing. But so do other people's generals as well. So it goes around, what goes around comes around, basically. What else do I have? I have a mod called Guaranteed Major Empires, which makes sure that the later empires like Carthage and Egypt and the Seleucids are still around. Because one of the big, massive drawbacks of the original game was that it wasn't balanced. So when you came to actually fight Carthage as Rome, you'd find they'd been taken over by some fucking Numidian wacky tribe from over here. I'd come in and just taken them over and wiped them out. That doesn't happen in this game though, so we will be getting the Punic Wars, which we will take you through when we get to that stage. And of course, we'll be discussing more of Caesar stuff tonight when we're going into Gaul. We're going to try and take it over, smash us some Gauls.
Ready for orders.
First things first, though, is that this place needs to be changed into a barracks, and it needs to be changed into a... make it a farming settlement, and we'll make it into grain pits as well. Yeah. Army sitting on it, which is good. The army here is waiting to take Vibrak. That's fine. So that will end this turn now. I might start actually just recruiting some troops over here, because we can get gladiators now, which is nice. Women gladiators. Give them here. Yeah, that'd be fun. The first mod I mentioned was 12 turns per year. I think there's a few on the workshop. Any one of them will work, because it's not a very extensive mod. It's a mod that literally just changes one thing. So yeah, it should work. And if it doesn't, you know, you can always change it back and sort yourself out. They're going to auto-resolve this because these are just mercenaries, so they're just going to just die straight away. Goodbye. We'll enslave those.
The sword.
Yep, that's fine. No need to be at war with Tyrus when the people who wanted us at war with them, the Athenians, aren't at war with them anymore. Well, there you go. They're destroyed already. Okay.
At your command.
So we'll take Primogenia. And there we go. And we'll have him. Yeah. It's huge movement range he got.
Let them cower before Rome.
Can he get there in one turn? Oh my god.
We take this settlement for Rome.
Okay,
Let
we'll
them
encircle
cower
that.
before Rome.
At your command. Call this a garrison?
That's the only thing the Gauls have in Spain, which is good. 'Cause that means our armies can now move into their heartland with impunity.
Cower before Rome!
We'll just... yeah, we'll... Let's do that this time. My name in Steam should be Tribal, and it should have a dragon flying on it. Make a bit of artwork.
Ready for battle!
Nice, we can have more armies now, that's good. So we just shorn the empire, their empire in half, it looks like. Let's have a look over here.
What do you wish of
Yeah, there's nothing down there.
Swift and silent, a shadow.
There's an army there, but it's not big enough to stop us.
I serve only
There's an army there, but it's not big enough to stop us either. So yeah, we got them penned in. Look at that. There we go. We've taken that city, so we're going to need to make sure Babract is not theirs anymore. Dismantle that. Make it a garrison, and dismantle that.
We hunger for battle!
That should be everything. Yep, so let's go take this.
For death and honor.
I wonder if he's gonna sally out and meet me in the field. That'd be great if he did. Nah, he's gonna sit in his walls. The sons of Brennus. Brennus was a very famous Gallic king. For anyone who tells you that Rome was sacked very late on in the Empire, when the Western Empire fell, they're wrong. It was sacked then, but the first time it was actually sacked was well before Christ, well before Caesar. And we're talking 200s BC. And it was sacked by the Gauls. The Gauls under Brennus, who, in a horrible case of mismanagement, the Roman Senate had allowed this army of Gauls to come into their territory, and eventually, after long negotiations, the Gauls sacked Rome, of all places. So Rome didn't fall later on, it fell very, very early on in its inception. But in true Roman fashion, it came back, and its people came back, and they persevered, and eventually, Rome conquered Gaul, thanks to Caesar. Let's wait for a minute. Dry. No, we want rain to stop some... No. There we go. Dry. Okay, fine. Yep, I will add you after the stream, Alec. And if you want to, we're going to be doing a series on famous battles pretty soon. Me and another content creator on the channel called Steady. We're going to be running probably the Battle of Cannae first. So we'll be doing a competitive battle first, and then we'll have one of our viewers try to actually reenact the battle with us. So let's try and kill these Gauls first. Cavalry down there. Cavalry down there. This is a very pretty place. Sorry. And my throat's a bit throaty. So what can we see? What can we see? Can't see anything so far. Okay. Okay, we're starting to see things inside.
So brave warriors.
I love how they start jumping over it and then they just demolish the fucking thing. They go through it. We're gonna... Well, don't worry. We're not expecting it to be completely accurate, no, because the game won't let us be completely accurate. But we're gonna try and make it as accurate as we can. But the battles where it's just a competitive version of the battle, no, we're literally taking a side each and we're trying to beat each other, basically. So there'll be 2 battles. There'll be one historical one. There'll be one free-for-all, where we try and see if we can win the battle that the ancient generals won. And we're going to try and make sure that our army compositions are as historically accurate as possible. So, yeah, we're gonna mod some maps to make sure that the battlefields are correct as well. So, we're gonna have to take these. Normally I would split up my army and have half marching from either side, but on this one we got a decent amount of cavalry here, so I'm just thinking of basically slamming in all of my infantry in here, grabbing them in the one place, and then as they run out of the city over here, the cavalry's there to mop up as they're coming out. That of course relies on my infantry doing their jobs, but because I'm Rome, I generally don't need to worry about that, because our infantry, even pre-Marian infantry, is extremely tough for the early game. Post-Marian infantry is ridiculously good. Now, if you don't know what I mean by Marian infantry, then go back and watch the other videos. There's been 3 parts up until now of this series, and you will know what Marian infantry is. And if not, then I'll probably tell you in a second anyway. Yeah, it's a really cool part of Roman history, of Roman military history anyway. Got a question for the chat though, just while the battle is just gearing up here, whilst the Gauls stand around and pick their asses.
Our next opponent, by the look of it.
What got you into ancient history? Like, was it a movie? Was it a book? Was it a song? Was it a game? What was it that got you into the discipline, into reading about ancient history? Or ancient warfare, as the case may be. Like for me, it was actually Gladiator back in the day. I watched Russell Crowe's Gladiator way back in the day, in 1999 when that came out. And that got me into it. Like, I loved from then on in. I thought, yeah, I need to know everything I can about this. The thing that I loved about it was kind of like watching something like Lord of the Rings. Something very fantastical, but it actually happened. Now, of course, Gladiator itself, as a movie, didn't happen. Even though they use historically accurate characters. What they do in Gladiator that I find extremely clever is that they take several parts of Roman history that are really interesting and they meld them together into Maximus's story. So some of the things Maximus does happen to Julius Caesar, some of them happen to Cornelius Sulla, some of them happen to Nero, so that they take all of the really cool stories of Rome and they throw them into one movie. So that means that if you actually watch Gladiator, it is inaccurate because that didn't happen at that time, but it gives you a really good primer to the rest of ancient history. Like, it gives you a fantastic in, a fantastic gateway. It's like a gateway drug. You know, well, that was an unfortunate analogy, but still, it's a fantastic gateway to start reading up and finding out. Because what I found when I was doing my degree was, because of seeing Gladiator that many times, when I was reading up on things would jump out at me. I'd be like, oh yeah, of course, that was in Gladiator. For different people that weren't, you know. So we'll get our Hastati moving up first. Let's get in there. Gonna bring my cavalry around here, just this side over here. So they can start doing their thing. Wailing on the enemy. Break the lines. Okay, we can run now, guys. We can officially run. Well, that sucks. Is anyone here from a culture or background or country that appears in a game like this? You know, anyone from the Middle East, for instance? Anyone from North Africa or Italy, or actually anywhere really? Anywhere, because they all appear in to some extent. You know. Bottling us up in an avenue at the moment, which I don't like. So let's just annihilate this unit, and then we'll come on and do our thing. We'll try a sneaky little charge here. We'll try and stop the skirmish troops from firing. Nope, the spearmen are going to come forward straight away. That's fine. Ah, Lebanese. Cool. I've actually got a few stories about the Lebanese, so if you hold on for a minute. I did Ancient Phoenicia at university as well. As part of my degree, I took a module in Ancient Phoenicia and the Levant and Lebanon, and so yeah, I will be talking about that in a second, if you want to. Yeah, I mean, I would save it for when we go to Lebanon, but that's not going to be for fucking ages. So, because it's the other side of the fucking map. So, let's charge into these guys here. There we go, should make mincemeat of There we go. Launching these guys up now. These guys are just being pulled apart. Look at that. They're being absolutely smashed. Now this game still does struggle when you blob them up like this. When you blob everyone up like this, which I don't really have a choice because I'm in a siege, but yeah, the game still does struggle sometimes. If I come in like this. It's not too bad actually, but it does struggle. It really doesn't like blobs. I don't blame it because I don't like blobs either, but there's not much I can do about it really. Okay. So we want our general over here.
Advance at speed!
Okay. We don't want these guys coming back, you see. They're running out of the city, but it doesn't mean they're gone. They could easily come back.
Forward! Advance! Advance! Legionary
Okay.
cavalry!
Slaughter these guys.
For glory!
Slaughter these guys.
To engage! General!
There we go. No worries. I'll be on. I'll tell you what. If you subscribe to the, well, if you follow the channel, Yoop, I will endeavour to do it tomorrow night or another night when I'm on. When you're on, so give me a shout when you're in the chat next time, and I'll do it then.
Legionary cavalry!
No worries, man. Have a lovely night. Do you mean Romanian Balkan, Alec, or do you mean Roman? Because Romania is named after Rome, but
Advance!
oh, nice. Roman in the house.
Men of Italia!
So how do you feel knowing that, you know, your city essentially ruled most of the world at one point? Most of the world that mattered, anyway. Imagine it'd be a pretty cool feeling.
Glory! A charge!
There we go. All these guys should be dying in droves.
Principes! Forward!
we go. Look at that. Makes you feel douchebaggy? Should take some lessons from the British, mate. You're gonna give a fuck.
Glory awaits! Into the breach!
See how overpowered your general becomes? That was a full unit of Oathsworn that I've just scared with my general into running away. Oh my god. For those of you who are interested in ancient Lebanon, and I will do this again next time for you, don't worry. Ancient Lebanon was famous for its cedar trees, which it still is. Cedar is a very pliant, bendable, but strong piece of wood. So much so that it's actually on the Lebanese flag. If you look at the Lebanese flag, it's actually on there.
Ready for orders.
So yeah. And the Phoenicians themselves were people of the city-states of the Near East, or the Middle East, sorry, who are all down here. So Tyros was one. There's Tyre, which is an island city, which was eventually conquered and razed by Alexander the Great. There's Byblos, which is a massive city in the mainland as well. And all different types of city-states around here, who were essentially pawns of two empires. One was the ancient Egyptian Empire, with the upper and lower kingdoms, which eventually would become this Egypt here, but this Egypt here is very Greek. As you can see there, it's not fully Egyptian. But back then, when the Phoenicians were around over here in Lebanon, it was fully Egyptian. And there's another empire up here in what would be today Turkey in Asia Minor. And in Asia Minor, which was part of the Hittite Empire. And the Hittites and the Egyptians hated each other, and generally Lebanon was their battleground. And unfortunately, over the centuries, Lebanon and much of the Middle East here, especially this coastline, has been awash with blood. From then, all the way through to the Roman era, where the Romans conquered this land. Well, even before then, so it was from the time of the Phoenicians, when they're city-states, right through to the time of Alexander the Great, who fought the Persians in this area, right through to the successors of the Antiochian Empire, the Seleucid Empire, and the Ptolemaic Empire were always fighting in this region over here. You know, right until their fall, when Rome came and established the province of Judea. There was constant uprisings then. The Emperor Vespasian actually came to the throne because he put down so many Jewish uprisings in this area, in Lebanon. And then all the way through to the Crusades after that, in the Middle Ages. So many Crusades came in here and cut a bloody swath all the way through to Lebanon. And, you know, in the Holy Land, Outremer. All that there. And then, of course, all the way through, tragically, to the modern day. You know, we're still fighting wars in that area. So it's a war-torn area. And, look at that. I've just taken you through 2,500 years of it in 3 minutes. So that's should be some sort of record there. Was all of the nations in 269 BC pagan? Depends where you mean. Do you mean in Europe, Alec? Because if you mean in Europe, then yes. Christianity wasn't a thing, hence the BC part. So yeah, everyone was pagan back then, yes. Everyone, there was the only monotheistic religion, which means the religion of one God, was Judaism that we know of. Judaism was strictly in Lebanon and around the area, Jerusalem. And, you know, you would have Jews in Rome who would work, but it never really spread. It never really became a big faith, because Judaism isn't like that. It doesn't really spread. It's a very family-oriented religion, and it was back then as well. Eventually, Rome would adopt Christianity under the Emperor Constantine, but he didn't. I firmly believe, and I wrote a paper on this that you can go read on Durham University. I'll put a link actually on the channel for next time to some of our papers. But I don't believe Constantine adopted Christianity out of true faith. I actually think he adopted Christianity because the empire at that stage was becoming very, very fractious, and Christians are actually made up around about 60% of his empire. So he adopted that religion to band everyone together and make Christianity the social glue of his empire, which again would seep into the Middle Ages, because what was the one thing that kept everyone united in Europe in the Middle Ages? Kind of. That's right, Christianity. So, you know, Rome is the parent of all, and I've always said this. You know, there were lots of. Doesn't mean I'm blind to other things. There were tons of things going on in the world before Rome and after Rome that had nothing to do with Rome. But if you look at the sheer amount of things that Rome has spawned, or at least had a hand in over the years, you would be astonished. So when somebody says, "What did the Romans ever do for you, for us?" slap them in the face and point them to this channel and point them to these videos. Don't slap them in the face, but you know what I mean. So we're going to now wait for our money to respawn so we can start. In fact, we can just dismantle all this, I think. No, we won't. We won't. We'll wait until our money comes back next turn, and then we will. Oh, do we own an entire province? It must be this. Yes. Or was it this? No, it's this. Okay. Bread and games for everyone. Cursor. Who is Cursor? And I did the Lebanon bit just now, just to give you a little taste of what we're going to be doing when Europe is back again, and we can do it, and then we can give him a nice. There we go. Nice talk about his homeland and stuff. But yeah, the Balkans. Give me a second for this to stop so I can show you on the map, and then we'll go through that as well. It really is humbling that you guys want to know about this stuff. It makes me really, really happy, because unbelievably, classics, many people think, is a dying subject. A subject that its numbers are falling. At least they were when I was part of the discipline anyway. Unfortunately. But hey, they'll never go away, so it's fine. So the Balkans. Here we are. So the Balkans back in the day, mainly were made up of Illyrian tribes and different tribes of the area. And as we discussed before, that doesn't mean they were quote-unquote barbarians who didn't know how to hold a spear. These were people with incredibly in-depth farming techniques. Their sailors were some of the best sailors of the ancient seas. That's why we have the word Illyrian pirates. That is something that you should be well familiar with if you studied or heard of anything to do with ancient Rome. Illyrian pirates were a bane of the seas around Rome. The Balkans actually spawned the Empire of Macedon, because Macedon, technically, is in the Balkans. If you look at Macedonia up here, technically it is in the Balkans. And the city of Pella and Philip the Great, they were also from the Balkans. So eventually, their Baltic kingdom came down here and took all of Greece, and then took all of this land over here as well. Yep, we're still going. We're still going. We're still going. We're still going. All the way over to here. So yeah, it takes... They took a lot of land. Now, whether you can really look at them as being Baltic, probably not at that stage, because they were mainly Greek and Macedonian. But again, Macedonia, technically, if you look at this, up here, Pella's the capital city, Macedonia is all the way over here. So it's a Baltic state, along with places like Illyria, Segestica, and places like that. So it was mainly a trading colony back then. Although Cicero did say a line in his in his memoirs of I'd rather stick pitted steel into my eyes than be sent to Illyria. So there was one person in the ancient world who wasn't very fond of your homeland, but you know.
March until your feet bleed, then march some more.
Now I know, as soon as I pull my troops out of here, the Sequani are going to attack me. So, let's see if we can do anything about that. No, they really hate me. They really hate me. Yeah. Well,
Orders.
okay.
None will escape. At your command.
We'll do that army in a second. The year we have for the foundation of Rome is around 600 BC. So, but to be honest with you, it's that far in the past and that legendary as a founding that we don't actually know. It could have been 700 BC, it could have been 600 BC. Yeah, we just don't know. Romulus and Remus may have existed, but I highly doubt they did. I think that was more of a legendary founding than an actual founding. I mean, there are two separate dates as well. There's an actual legendary founding, and an actual real founding date. I think we go to Mars. Dismantle that.
How may I serve you?
Okay, so and the rest of our money is going to be spent upgrading this army here. Whoops.
Ready for orders.
And we're going to get some more gladiators, because I think that'll be hilarious.
Needs good fighters.
This is going to be absolutely hilarious. We're going to have a fucking shit ton of gladiators. There's a walloping over here. Curb stomping all over the Averni. But I'm waiting for the Sequani to attack me straight away. Now that I've done that. I'm willing to bet any money that they're going to start attacking me. One second. There we go. Excellent. How did Rome find Britannia? Rome always knew Britannia was sort of there. They didn't just like come on here someday in Brittany and go, "Oh, look, there's an island over there." They always knew it was kind of there. Julius Caesar was the first to cross to Britain after he conquered Gaul, because he wanted just to show people that he could. Because Britain was a very strange, alien, misty island off the edge of the world that no one really knew anything about. So Julius Caesar went there. He was attacked on the beaches by blue-painted Bretons, or Britons, who jumped on him and pushed him back into the sea, and he said, "Do you know what? Fuck that," and came straight back again to Gaul. And that was the last we saw of Julius Caesar. Eventually, in the reign of Emperor Nero, soldiers were sent across and did conquer most of the British Isles. So, yeah, that was when... oh, look, there you go. We've encountered a faction. from the Balkans, the Odrysian Kingdom. There you go. This is right on cue there. Cultures have been destroyed. Well, yeah. Who are these? The Nervii. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Why are they marching through my lands? Okay, let's take the city.
Let them cower before Rome! We hunger for battle.
Okay, that's that city done. And we will take our... Yeah, we won't recruit that last unit. We'll take our gladiators and we'll go straight over here
Settlement.
with our hilarious army of gladiators. And that's what we'll do there. Who are these guys? Who are the Galeci in charge of? Do they have any allies? No, they're at war with everyone. Bollocks to it. Let's go take them on.
Ready for orders.
I'll send my spy over there first, shall I?
Swift and silent as a shadow.
Now, this is a bone of contention that I have with a lot of my Scottish friends. They seem to think that Rome couldn't beat them, whereas every single piece of information we have says that Rome could have beaten them,
We hunger for battle.
but decided there was no worth in it really. Yeah, so that's what we know. We know the Romans from several sources, including several people who were at Venelandum, which is a Roman fortress in northern Britain, who said, yeah, there's no point to going over there. They sent word home saying, can we go and conquer these people? Because when you actually conquer new lands, you actually got free leave to go and get yourself some spoils, make yourself rich. Whereas, you know, whoops. Whereas they were denied such a thing to go into Scotland because there was nothing there of worth to actually have. So, yeah, next time you hear of... If you have a Scottish friend who's giving it the, oh, they never conquered us, freedom! Then, you know, just tell them that they're wrong. And Rome could have conquered them at any time. They just chose not to because Scotland was a shithole. I'll let you decide if it's still a shithole. But it was a shithole back in the day. Horrible. Nothing but rocks and ginger people. That's what it was. I jest. But still, that's how the Romans saw it. And to be honest with you, it was quite scary. I mean, Scotland looks very forbidding. Just as a place, it looks forbidding. It looks, you know, like something out of Lord of the Rings or something. So to the Romans, especially in winter, you can imagine these Mediterranean forces go up there and just don't want to go any further. Now, if you think that the Roman Legion was made out of strictly Italians and Mediterranean people, you'd also be wrong. Because they weren't. They were pulled from all sorts of provinces at that stage. Let's see, what's all this about? Tiberius Caprenius Ahenobarbus. Scorpus, legendary charioteer, has been killed during a race. The people are heartbroken and call out for this great man to be honoured. I'll commission a statue. Yeah, public funeral. Why not? Why not? I mean, he was only a charioteer, but, you know, it's fine.
Any man who drops out is left behind. Make haste, men. Your next command? At your command.
I'm actually going to pull back from that fight so that I can go and deal with this army coming over here. If we can nip them in the bud.
Commander, let them cower before Rome.
basically auxiliaries, yeah. But a lot of them were actually trained legionnaires. They weren't just auxiliaries. They were legionaries of the legionnaires. Though that's not a word. Do not use legionnaires when you're talking about Romans. Sorry, slapping my wrist. Because yes, they did not have legionnaires. They were legionaries. So there is a marked difference between the two, and never the two shall meet. Okay, we might be ready to actually wipe them out, to be honest with you.
We hunger for battle.
Yeah, actually, we really could wipe them out. They got one city left.
Commander, we hunger for battle. Ready for orders.
Yeah, foreign troops weren't just auxiliaries, no, that they would be drafted in as normal troops, as normal legionaries. It would take a while for that to happen. It didn't happen as Gaius Marius. I mean, Gaius Marius's reforms equated to rights for Italian citizens to become legionaries, and certain people from certain provinces to become legionaries. It didn't allow, for instance, for someone from Africa. So to become a legionary, it did in the end, but that change was long in coming. Oh, what's he doing? What's he doing? Now that better not have stopped my army from moving. There we go.
Ready for battle.
No, he didn't. Good.
Besieging settlement. Laying siege to the settlement.
I'm going to raise a new legion up here, you know. House of Julia. Seems appropriate. Let me recruit you. We'll stick you in there.
I want hourly patrols.
And we will...
Soldiering. It's a good life.
just have some troops. Don't need any great troops, just some troops in that general vicinity.
We hunger for battle. Waiting for more orders.
Cool. We will
For death and honor!
skip this battle, because again, it's going to be big and cumbersome, and it's going to take us forever. There we go. So Berdigala is ours.
At your command.
And this means, in actuality, that the Averni have no tribes left. They have nothing left with which to attack us with. Okay. Where were the slums? I saw slums somewhere. Where are the slums? Is it here? No. There's no slums anywhere. bloody thing. Oh, there's some. Get rid of those. Okay, so for our last action of the evening, I should think.
Commander. To battle!
We're gonna have an actual battle. I mean, alright, it's one where we're heavily in the right, but it's a battle against Gaul nonetheless, so yeah, we haven't really been able to take on Gaul in the field like we did with the other tribes. It's mainly been sieges. So, at least this time we'll get to see him. Yay, rain. Because we don't have very many,
Principes!
ranged troops, so... Run forward.
In the name of Rome!
Oh my god, reinforcements are right behind him. That is so cruel. That is so cruel. Look at that. Look at his army just appears behind him. Okay. Almost there. These poor guys, they're just caught in the middle of nowhere. Just dead. Oh, they got naked warriors as well. I remember naked warriors from the old game, that was awesome. I had a mate who played the original game, and his old Gallic Empire was just made up of naked warriors. Like, that was all he would ever use, was naked warriors. You'd have like 10,000 naked warriors just running through the field, just charging in. It's awesome.
Quickly now!
Should show you how chaotic you can get in battle, really. When you see that.
Advance!
Here we go. Oh. Okay. So it's a big blob there, but we should be able to push on through.
Legionary cavalry! Of Italia!
Let's get down here. Smash into the back of here and then pull out again. That's what she said. Bang. Take that, naked warriors. That's also what she said. Let's get him in there.
General! Orders understood! Victory!
Yeah, absolutely tearing them to shreds. Watch and learn at Legion over there. Watch and learn. It's how Primogenia does it.
Sons of Mars!
Sons of Mars.
Back forward! General! Riders at the double! Quickly now! Advance at speed! Strength and honor! Yes, Commander! Riders on me! Riders! The double! Riders! Advance! On them! Engage! Equities!
I've actually got people fleeing. Is that good?
General!
They've got to be going. They've got to be... There we go.
Glory! Advance into the breach! Victoria, lead us!
There we go.
Rally to me! Coming in! All riders at the doubles!
There we go. We'll end that battle there. Julius Caesar's quote there, war gives the right of the conquerors to impose any conditions they wish upon the vanquished, is actually a reverse of a quote by the leader Brennus, who we discussed before, the Gallic leader Brennus. When he actually took Rome, he sat in front of the Senate in a tent, and they were discussing what kind of a war indemnity the Romans would pay. The Romans had a scale to measure out all of the gold they were going to pay the Gauls. Brennus, when asked if this would be satisfactory when the gold had been placed in the scales, added his own really heavy sword to the scales, sat back and said, "Woe to the vanquished." And that's basically what I'm saying to the Gauls right now.
You have further orders?
I love how this guy leveled up and didn't actually do anything. He just sat there and watched Sporius Nabanus Canis do his thing, being a badass.
Hunger. Call this a garrison.
But you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Set up the watch.
So we have achieved our aims, essentially. Everything that we wanted to take in this session is now ours. We have a rollicking amount of goods coming in every single turn. We're creating a vast Roman state in Gaul and Cisalpine Gaul and Spain. And in the next session, you'll see us take on the Gallici first, and maybe even the Lusitani if they are not allied with the Carthaginians, and maybe even the Eborans here as well, the Celtici. So maybe we can take these 3 places out in modern day Portugal if they're not allied with Carthage. Then we can let our economy recover. We can make sure that all of our cities are strong, that all of our garrison legions are where they need to be in case we're invaded from elsewhere. And then the Punic Wars will start in earnest. Looks like they're already getting ready. So next time, we'll be talking about the Punic Wars. Thank you very, very much for watching. If you enjoyed what you were seeing tonight, then yeah, don't forget to follow the channel. I will be back on tomorrow night. That's tomorrow night at exactly the same time, 10 o'clock British Standard Time. So, GMT. 10 o'clock, 10 PM GMT. So thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And again, you know, follow the channel if you like what you see. And I'd love to get you guys involved at some stage. We can do some battles together. We can do some sieges together. We can build a little community around the channel where we can all play some Total War games and talk about history together, which would be awesome. So, have a really lovely evening, and I'll see you for more knowledge and general historical awesomeness tomorrow. I'll see you later, guys.